What is up? What's up, you guys? How are you? I feel like I want headphones. Why do I want my headphones all of a sudden? What is up, tribe? How's everybody been? How are you doing on this beautiful, whatever the hell day this is? What's today? It's Wednesday. I knew that. I told y'all I never really know what day of the week it is. Like, unless I have a new client, if it's not like a reoccurring client, because then my alarm just goes off, I really don't even know what day it is. But how is everybody? How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's been going on in y'all's world? I think we have a pretty good topic for today. Okay. 46 subscribers to go until 3K. What is up, Matthew? Congratulations on your growing channel. So let's not waste too much time, you guys. I actually have a call to take in a second. I'm supposed to get on here and share this message about this great awakening that we are currently in right now. Some of you guys, this is not going to resonate with just yet. Some of you guys, it won't resonate with at all. And then for some of you guys, it's just a little bit early, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months. But the majority of you guys who will be watching this will feel exactly what I'm saying. Do I want to say majority? At least half of you guys watching this will be able to know exactly what I'm saying. And what we're going to talk about is this great awakening. And I'm going to share how, like, ways that you know that you are awakening. I want to start off by, wait, first of all, if you're in here, let me know. If you're in here, let me know who you are, where you from, what city, what country are you watching De La Soul from. And yeah, I wanted to say that first, but I was going to say, I want to start off by talking about the last Great Awakening period. Let me ask you guys, what were you doing in 2012? Think about your life in 2012. What was happening? I should even say between 2012 and 2013. Even though it started in 2012, it's like a retrograde. It's like you have the retrograde period, and then you have pre-retrograde, post-retrograde. So it's kind of like that. It's not really exact. It could even be like the end of 2011, and then some of 2013. What were you doing within that time frame? A lot of you guys were going through a great awakening. And what do I mean by awakening? I mean, I'm talking about, I see some people online calling it like a spiritual awakening, but all of us are spiritual beings. I don't even think that it's necessary to call it a spiritual awakening, because what else would you be awakening to if it's not like, expansions of yourself? That's what it all is. So an awakening is just basically where you realize that you've been lied to a lot of times. Where you really go through, almost like it feels like a tunnel. It's like this tunnel view of you having a lot of epiphanies and things like that, where you really realize that maybe what you've been believing in is something that you need to make a couple of adjustments to, and you start to break free from a lot of the programming. You guys hear me talk about programming all the time. Everybody is on their own program. That's what this earth experience is. A program is based on your perceptions and your beliefs. So basically, an awakening is when all of that is shattered. And hey, what is up? I be trying not to butcher y'all's names. Raju? Okay, sorry. I'm not going to do it. Sorry. Roderick. Okay, there we go. By the way, you guys, hopefully I can remember this. In the beginning of this live, I want y'all to see my earrings. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all what amazing, luxurious company I got these earrings from. Okay, check them out though. Like, can you see? Can you see how good my face and my skin looks in these? These are handcrafted. You will not believe. You literally will not believe. Okay. So let's just keep that there. I'm going to try to put a pin in it and remember that. Let me write that down on my board because I'm probably going to forget. I'm going to really write this down. just real quick. Because I want to tell you guys who this is, who I got my earrings from. And I probably have a lot of other pieces from them. Okay, so yeah, that's an awakening. And so 2012, think about where you were in 2012, because that was, I would say, I believe, and I believe this is even written, that 2012 was the greatest awakening that mankind have seen yet. What happened in 2012 between that and 2013? A lot of people, this is where the beginning, it might feel like it's happening just right now for some of you guys, but the beginning of people really making a conscious decision to start like reading the ingredients on their food. So many people changed their diets, and how they felt about things. There was a lot of, even whenever gay marriage became legal between those few years. Yeah, like right after that, actually. I'm trying to think back. What else? There was a lot of people questioning their belief systems. Hidden Colors, if you guys know the Hidden Colors film, they were playing their part in this great awakening. I remember the next year, 2013, is when the government started, like, there were some things, I remember them like shutting down people's bank card. I don't know if y'all remember that year that people could not, like, for like a whole day, people couldn't get money off their card. 2013, I remember they ended up doing some type of like military thing where they were like and you remember they were like going to different Walmarts and they were like doing demonstrations, military demonstrations and stuff, these kind of things. And there were like so many people questioning. It was just a lot of that. It was also one of those within those years. What else happened? There was something big when it came to the jab. Something happened with the jab. I think it was when they started shutting down them being able to, like, you being able to use your religion as a reason to not get it. It was something like that, if I can remember right. I graduated high school in 2012, was a crazy time to enter the real world. Ooh, you're not lying. Definitely, that definitely was an interesting time for you. It was so many shifts. If you can go in between the years of 2012, 2013. Now, I knew that I was experiencing a great awakening. Just to share a little bit about my personal awakening, most of you know now that I am an intuitive and I've been channeling all my life. But I had a lot of, the programming. I would tell adults in my life that I could see things or that I could hear things, and this happened. And of course, I would get the typical shutdown. And so certain things like that, different traumas would happen, and it would make me disconnect to what I was actually doing. And so I decided to go into the church. I was married by 2022. I have been married for a few years. And this was actually the year that I decided to leave the church. Every time I do this, the thing comes up. I was attending church. I was teaching the youth, and anything I do it like for real. If you know me, I'm not doing anything without like concise research and I don't know, prayer and meditation, right? I'm just really big on whatever I do. So I was definitely going in, and I wanted to go to school to be a pastor. It was a whole thing. And I remember that is actually what brought me. So this was like it was 2012. And we were living in Oklahoma. And I remember that because I wanted to go to school to be a pastor, I wanted to not, preach to people and then not be able to say that I really read and understood this whole thing for myself. So I stopped listening to different people, and I started, like, as far as like their preaching and their ways, I really started to go within, and I started to read the Bible by myself. And I mean, not that I wasn't already, but I'm saying like it was like another level. Like, I'm not taking anybody else's outside thing it's just me and God. Like, it was like that level, right? And at the same time, I was attending school. I went to school for psychology for a few years, and I was learning about how the Tulsa massacre had never been shared. You know, I grew up back and forth from LA to Oklahoma to Tulsa, and my house that I owned actually at the time was on the streets where the massacre took place, and we had never heard of this. And it was the biggest massacre. It was the first time that the US government dropped bombs from the air. So it completely blew my mind, the things that was unfolding for me in the Bible that I was getting between just me and God. I was reading scriptures like the scripture when God calls people heathens whenever they take out a Christmas tree. This is the Bible. This is not me. So if this is what you do, I'm just saying what the Bible say. Okay. And he talks about how when you go out, you cut down trees and you decorate them and you bring them in your house, he literally says you're heathens. And so between this kind of stuff, I was wondering how come my church had so many women and men that were dealing with diabetes and health issues. And no one was saying anything. We were eating pigs in a blanket for breakfast. I'm like, wait a minute, like, are you here? Like, what's going on? And then I remember at this time, farmers were fighting the US government. The US government had thousands of lawsuits, because they were starting to force farmers to grow with the Monsanto seed. So all this, I'm kind of taking y'all back to things that you may or may have not known during 2012. So between that and then what I was finding out about the lies of my history, I was completely blown away. And I remember I was going to church, like questioning. I'm like, my pastor, like, what do this say? Because this is not what we're doing. Like, this is not, it said we're supposed to be doing this. And and so then I ended up wanting to move back to LA. And I would say that me having to leave the church that I belonged to and kind of breaking free from that, I was like 8 months pregnant when I decided to do this. And I told my ex-husband, he was dealing with a lot with his family. And I was just like, look, this is not the life. Like, there's something more out there. I was working these jobs. Well, during the time I was pregnant, I wasn't working. But normally, I was working these jobs, and I just always felt like it was something more. And my mom was telling me to watch the Hidden Colors film. I was already telling her, like, yeah, like, hey, mama, like, look at this, look at this. And then she was like, you need to watch the Hidden Colors film. She's like, you need to watch the Hidden Colors. She kept telling me this for months, and I didn't watch it. We moved to LA, and it's so crazy. If you know who Dr. Kaba Kamene Hiawatha, or he was formerly known as Booker T. Coleman. He is still alive with us today, and he might be the last like true elder who worked alongside Dr. John Hendrick Clark and a lot of greats that paved the way and really did a lot for our history and stuff. And so the first time that I watched the Hidden Colors film, my ex-husband and I was watching it, and I remember we were in LA at this time. We didn't decide yet not to. We were like, should we leave the church? Like, what should we do? You know? And I will never forget watching this film. As soon as the film turns on, Dr. Kaba, he's the light-skinned brother with the ponytail, in case you guys are wondering. Dr. Kaba is the light-skinned one with the ponytail. And the slimmer one, because there's actually a bigger one on there. He's the slimmer brother, and he's all about melanin. He is a big, phenomenal teacher in the US. Like, they get him to write like the multiple test choice thing or whatever. So he's really big when it comes to educating children. And I didn't know any of this. And I'm watching the film comes on, and I go, wait, pause that. I'm like, pause this. Whoever that man is, he's going to help me homeschool our children. And we just kind of looked at each other, and I was like, okay, push play. I'm like, I don't know why I said that. And literally a few months later, oh my God, it was so crazy. Someone ended up sending me an invite to meet him, just a random freaking angel. This person inboxed me, sent me an invite to meet Dr. Kaba, and I could not respond to this person and thank them. And I ended up meeting him. The rest is history. Like, he helped me to homeschool the kids. And he played such a big part, even in me getting here. This was 11 years ago, and he played such a big part in my move here to Senegal. Oh my goodness. But anyway, this was the year that I went through my awakening. And it was so many things that were shattered, as far as my beliefs and the different categories that I didn't realize that I had allowed people to put me in. Um, yeah, it was a lot. I had a lot of epiphanies. I had a lot of soul, like really, like full circle. How I mentioned that I've been channeling since I was a young child, but it was like a period when maybe between like like right before high school into this time that the channeling was very subtle. I was not very open. I definitely wasn't accepting of it, and I just didn't get it as much. And then it was like 2012 came, and it was like it just came full circle. Like all of these different epiphanies and moments, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've actually been picking this up. This is actually happening. And it was a lot of like really crazy events. I remember us leaving California and going back to Oklahoma. And it wasn't really the trip that we wanted. Like my ex-mother-in-law had vandalized our home. My ex-husband had lost his job. It was like not the trip that we wanted. And especially me, because we have been living our best life in LA, and I did not want to take my kids back to Oklahoma. So I was so big on our trip back to Oklahoma feeling like a vacation to the kids. I was just so big on that. I was just like, I don't want them to feel like this is tragic. And so I was like, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like we need to go to New Mexico. Like on the way there, we barely have any money. I'm like, we have to stop at New Mexico. And I start feeling this adrenaline. Like, I'm just like, New Mexico, New Mexico. Like, something is telling me that we have to go there. And to make a long story short, I ended up meeting a lady there who was a reader. We ended up accidentally in front of her house. And I told her that I think that I was sent to New Mexico to speak to her. And she goes, actually, yeah. She's like, I actually just had a client who canceled on me. And I'm sitting here confused because I'm feeling like I'm supposed to be giving somebody some information, and here you are calling. So it was just so crazy. And the experience that I had there, doing the reading with her, was so profound and so powerful, because I kind of had like an outer body experience. And I started feeling like I felt when I was really young, and I would get these channeled messages. It was very much like more, I don't know how to explain it, but it was more real, like more exaggerated. It wasn't like a faint fruition or something. It was just, I don't know. I can't even explain that, but it was just more in my face. And this is how this was. And so the lady is talking. She's doing her thing, and she's telling me and my ex-husband stuff, and I'm not even there. Like, I have split into two, and I can feel myself speaking to a team. I know this is my team because I remember them. I remember them from when I was 5 and 6 years old, and all the things that they used to tell me about myself, about people. And so it is so crazy. I will never forget that I felt it was like my 3D human self was connecting with them. And the greeting was like, hey, what's up? Like, what's up? How have y'all been? Oh my God, it's been so long. This has been so real, you guys. Oh my goodness. Like, I am down here on earth. Like, it was like a conversation like that I was having with a group of entities that I felt so loved by and so familiar with. And they were just like, you're doing a great job. This shit has been real, but you got this. You've done this so many times. Go. Like, and so I went there for that experience, and I didn't know. Like, I was literally just listening to myself. And so, yeah, that was pretty much my 2012, 2013 awakening. That just progressed into a bunch of other stuff. I ended up leaving my ex-husband right after that. And I'm going to get into why I even mentioned that when it comes to awakening. And you said that the other day out of the church. Yes, but definitely always go and spread the word. Yes. Okay. I be spreading the word, y'all. That's why I share people who literally, okay, I need to get to the subject, but let me just say this real quick, because it's kind of funny. Humans have this thing where it's like, if someone is spiritual, which we are all spiritual, like you cannot not be spiritual. You feel you have a frequency that runs through you. That's spiritual. But anyways, people think that because I have the background of me going to church, being into the church and stuff like that, and I'm no longer in it, that I would be like somehow like ashamed, or even people in the spiritual community are like, oh, ha, 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 you were a Christian. Like, is this an insult? Like, you mean that I was doing my path the way I was supposed to? Like, you can't offend me or make me feel any kind of way, because I am so thankful and so proud for every single thing that has happened in my journey. I see it very clearly that every single thing that I experienced, every relationship, everything that I understood or I believed or whatever the hell it was exactly what it was supposed to be. It led me to the next thing. So I love the fact that I have that background, because when I'm speaking to people, a lot of my clients are actually coming from a Christian background, and maybe they're kind of in between, maybe they're full-blown Christian, but it makes me very mobile. I'm able to speak to a vast majority of people because I understand the scriptures, and I also understand what they are really saying. And so it's just another thing. It's not something that I would ever, I mean, I personally feel like doing my spiritual journey and not having that background, I would feel a little lost, because it's like you're going against something that you haven't even explored. Not to say that that's nothing bad, because maybe that just wasn't your journey to do that. But even my kids, they are raised and reared in a spiritual home, but we have the Bible. We read the Bible all the time. I want them to know about all types of different religious texts. We read scriptures out the Quran. So it's nothing that I would be like ashamed of. If anything, I'm really proud of that. Hidden colors. Shut up, for real. I did not know that they played Hidden Colors at the HBCUs. No wonder. Hidden Colors plays a big part in that mass awakening. And before I go on to the signs of how you know you're awakening, I wanted to share that I knew that there was a lot of things shifting, right? I knew that so many things have been changing inside of me. I was having these very familiar messages, things that I hadn't felt since I was a little girl and stuff. So things were coming together as far as that. But I um I did not know that this was something that had been predicted from like the Mayan calendars and so many other ancient cultures. And I heard of it. One of my friends who actually played a big part in my awakening, I met her in 2012. And yeah, she really helped me with like when it comes to like me learning about the health. And she's the one that introduced me to Kalita Silver. And we spoke a few months ago, and she actually mentioned, she was like, yeah, 2012, that was the Great Awakening. And I had never heard of 2012 being a Great Awakening. So I was just like, oh, okay, she might be just saying something everybody else is saying. But then I watched a video that popped up on my YouTube channel the other day. And this lady was actually, she has a course on, they have a course on like some ancient knowledge that some people are interested in, like the city of Atlantis and stuff like that. And so she was breaking down how in the course they are showing how the Mayan calendar and the Mayans back in freaking 500 BC, how they had it written out that if mankind makes it to 2012, it will be the greatest awakening that the earth has seen. And it's like, I mean, this was like 5 days ago, y'all. And I had a moment because I was like, wow, like I was a part of the greatest awakening so far that we have experienced. That was 11 years ago. Amazing. I had no idea. I went in research, I started looking it up. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so amazing. So I think that's why this is such a good topic today, because we are currently in another awakening, guys. We are in another awakening, and I have to control myself. Because if you follow me on my other platforms, if you've been in my stories, even on my old page on Instagram these last few years, even last year on Facebook, I talked about this has all been intuitive. Again, that's why I be like so amazed, because these things that I'm experiencing and what I am getting is intuitive. And then I'll go and like read about it years later or months later. And I'm like, oh my God, that was actually a thing. So for me, I've always felt like there is a shift coming. Even the year that I moved here, I was talking about it. You guys may remember some of my posts talking about this great shift, and we are coming upon this thing. And when I'm posting these things, I'm just like sitting on my phone chilling, and then I just get this feeling throughout my body, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And it's like I feel my soul being like, the time that you've been waiting for since you got here, it's coming. Like, don't share this, don't say that, because I've told you guys how many years, even though I've been very apologetic, very public about who I am, I also have not shared. I've shared in little bits and pieces about my intuitive abilities, about my channeling, because it just wasn't time. If have you been down with me for years, you know that people were calling me crazy for the things that everybody is so accepting of today. 11 years ago, I lost some friends, baby. Some of my clients today are people that was like, this girl is crazy. And now they're like, no, they lie. Like, you were just ahead of the time. So yeah, that is actually a really big thing. And so last year, I remember posting that this shift is coming. I was like, you guys, it is so much on us. I don't know anything about this information. I do not read books on this. I don't look at YouTubers talking about this, because I'm actually very skeptical. My stuff got to come from inside of me. Otherwise, because everything is watered down and so commercial, I just can't believe I'm literally the person doing the complete opposite. What everybody is taking sea moss gel and talking about whatever the alkaline diet, I've already done that, or I'm just not doing it, because I'm so suspicious. I'm just like, like, what did this go viral for? Like, what is this popular for right now? So this is all intuitive. And then I feel it. I've been talking about it a lot more last year. And then this year, almost as soon as midnight hit on New Year's, I did a birth. I did a birth on, was that New Year's Day? It was the day before New Year's. I had a birth. And now that birth was amazing, because the baby actually came to me and told me that I was going to help her mother birth her. And that was amazing, because I was not prepared for that. I shouldn't say I wasn't prepared, but I wasn't looking for it. I was actually right here on my bed sleeping. And it was so crazy, because she woke me up out my sleep, and she was like, hey, get up, get your paperwork together, because you're about to help my mommy with this birth. And I was like, I literally woke up and was like, what? I was like, I'm not doing this right now. I haven't done a birth in like a year or two. I'm not, and then literally 4 hours later, this lady calls me. This lady called me, and I ignored her call because I didn't know the phone number, but it was that lady. So this birth that I did, and what the baby said to me was that you're going to help my mom birth me before the year is up. So this was like the beginning of, I think this was November. I don't even take clients this late. If you hit me up in the last 2 months of your birth, I'm most likely not going to help you. But it was the way that it was set up. It was so divine. Like, she was here. She was pretty much stuck here. So she had no choice. I couldn't just leave her hanging. And plus the baby was talking to me. So I really didn't have no choice. So damn, my finger keep on doing the thing. But so it was very amazing. Like, that's the only way I could describe it, because I had the birth. It was an amazing birth. Oh my goodness, it was one of my favorite births. The father was crying and praying. He didn't speak much English, but he had went through some trauma with his last birth experience from watching his ex-wife be operated on, and he lost his baby. So it was very much a moment, like, to be obedient to myself and to have this experience and help this family. And then it was like the next day, the awakening began. The next day after the baby was born, if you guys are into this kind of thing, then you know what birth is about. You know that seeing a birth, or even when it's a death, it means that there's like a new shift taking place. I was not thinking of any of this. I was just like, okay, did the birth, going back to my city. And the next day, I just started getting these downloads. I just started feeling very emotional. I just started really knowing that the shift was taking place, that a new awakening was happening now this year. And if you follow me, then you see me talk about it. You see me say, like, guys, it's here. Like, that thing that I've been talking about, it's here right now. So a lot of you guys may or may not know that you've been experiencing an awakening. And it may not always look like, I have to put my thumb down. It may not always, why would they do that? Like, what is me putting my thumb up and putting an emoji on the screen? Like, how is that? Thanks, guys. Don't forget to hit the like. And then when I'm trying to do it, it's not even doing it. Like, but when I'm doing this, that's so crazy. Okay. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna get into the ways that you know that you are awakening. Okay. I'm gonna read these comments real quick and then we're gonna get into it. 1,000%. That upbringing in the church made us have that hunger to seek higher power. Okay. Yes. Please, guys, if you are what would be considered awakened, I don't like any of these terms. Like, if we can just call ourselves just self or just be, if you are just a being that's being, I prefer that. But if you would be considered someone who is woke, and you have that background, then please don't be ashamed. Please live your full truth, because there's so many people awakening after you, and they need to see what that looks like. They need to see that that might look like believing in something or something else, or you know, absolutely. Okay, so this one, Arlene, hey. Oh yes, of course. You know what? I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing this. I'll just say that we are talking about a season 3 very, very soon. Like, I would just say that make sure that your notifications are on, because me and Afro Millennial Mama are talking about a season 3 for the Repat No Cap show. Wait, what's this talk about HBCUs? We were talking about the film Hidden Colors being filmed in the HBCUs, which I didn't know, but I love Tyreek for that. Oh my goodness. Do y'all know what he did for us? There was so much awakening. Now, I will say, I mean, everything happens how it's supposed to. That was what we needed at that time, especially because 2012, between 2011 and 2013 was those years when we actually, that's what else I shouldn't even have been able to miss. We were getting our injustice as Black Americans that was finally being shown on social media for us. If you guys remember, it was not happening on social media before that. In 2010, it wasn't happening. It's like by the time the like late 2011, but really 2012 hit, that's when we started seeing I'm trying to be careful with my words, but we started seeing that happen on camera, and it shook us. It shook the world. Well, the world didn't know about it yet, but not until George Floyd in there. But it definitely shook us up, which also shows proof of that great awakening. Like, that's a lot. Like, the Mayans was on it. And the fact that they were calculating things based off of the constellations, I never tried to, like, I don't care what you believe in. I honestly don't. Like, Source loves you the same. God loves you the same. You are on your right path. There's no mistakes. But I am interested in the people that totally debunk astrology, because debunking astrology, and you don't have to get into it on the level that a lot of people do, which I feel like is extreme. It's like, even too much water is too much water. Like, you can't overdo anything. But denying anything about astrology is like, it's like disagreeing that as above is below. It's like saying that the constellations, what the hell are the constellations? Like, what are the constellations, and why are they shaped like people and animals? Like, what is that? Who did that? Like, but that's just amazing. The fact that man was able to predict something thousands of years in the future, and it happened. And the way the Mayans put it, at least from what I researched, is they're like, if we make it, if mankind makes it to 2012, it's going to be this great awakening. So I'm really grateful to have been a part of that. And also, what I'm really glad about, which is such a full circle moment for me, when I went through my awakening in 2012, people who already knew me and already knew me for like the coach, I was always the life coach. I was always reading people without even knowing. And it was one of these things where people seen me go to a different level, and they started pressuring me to do YouTube and to do like, this is like the beginning talk of any kind of podcast and stuff. And I'm really grateful that I did not allow for people to pressure me into that, because I needed those years to myself. Like, I needed to do everything I was doing when it came to me homeschooling my children, me making the decision to leave my ex-husband, like all the events that took place. I did a lot of moving. I did a lot of breaking a lot of fears. What people don't know, because they see that my journey, I was so fearless coming into Senegal, and the way that we transitioned from New York City and all this stuff. But back in 2012, I was freaking out at the idea to drive just from LA to Oklahoma with my kids in the car. It was a major, I was freaking out to drive in traffic in LA. Like, I couldn't even go, like, I was trying to, like, you know, break from a lot of things and get back into things that I used to love doing, like dancing. And I would like set up these dance classes and be too afraid to drive to the dance class because it was traffic. And I just felt like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I remember the drive back from Oklahoma to, from LA to Oklahoma. I remember having so many panic attacks. My ex-husband was in front of us. He was literally leading us, and I had the kids in the car, and I was still having panic attacks. Like, we had to stop on multiple occasions. And I remember telling the kids at one moment, I was like, you know what, guys? I think that, because by this time I was already talking about Senegal. Like, we had like 2 years of me talking about moving to Senegal. So I was like, you know what, guys? I think that right now our journey of preparation to move to Senegal has just begun. Like, I think that I am being trained for this move to Senegal. And I had no idea what I was saying. I was just saying what I felt. And definitely I was head on with that, because how was I going to move across the country? How was I going to live in New York City and go through what I experienced if I didn't break free from the illusion of fear of traveling with my kids? And it broke free like that. Like, we went from LA to Oklahoma, then we moved to Chicago, we lived in Atlanta. Like, we was on the road, baby. Like, I was getting my training, okay? And by the time we moved here, it was like moving down the street. Like, I had no culture shock. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is what we do. Like, it was such a big difference. So I think that is good for me to share that, because a lot of you guys are going through awakenings and you are utterly confused and shocked. And you're just like, why is my life pushing me to do this? And it's because you're going through an awakening. But let's get into it, okay? Because I really gotta go, y'all. I just be really taking my time. Let me know if y'all have any questions as they come up and stuff, so that I can answer them. All right, so let me see. I wanted to share some ways that we know that you're awakening. First of all, the first one is the urge to cut people off, like to cut people out of your life, or when it's just naturally happening. This is a sign that you are going through an awakening. If you're just tuning in, I'm talking about the great shift that is taking place right now. 2012 was the biggest shift. I can't even say if this is not going to be the biggest one, since then, because this is big, y'all. Like, this awakening is bigger than the one that I did, if that even makes sense. Like, it's so big. Like, there is, oh my God, I can't even, it's so much. There are so many portals being opened, and so many people realizing that they have these intuitive powers, or that they have the ability to split time and reality and create a completely different new path for themselves, and do it with ease. Like, we are no longer going with hard work pays off and I gotta work hard and all these illusions that we used to go by, as we are going further into the age of Aquarius, and also going through this awakening, while beings are helping us like they never have ever helped any generation of human beings before in the history of human beings. All this is happening right now. All this has started this year. Okay, so you will know when you feel like you want to isolate yourself and cut people out of your life. You'll start to feel like maybe there's like you and this particular friend or family, and you'll just be like, I'm not feeling this person no more. Like, and it could have been last week that y'all was good. It happens like that. And you'll just be like, really? And you'll just be like, you'll just be like, what? Our conversation didn't feel the same. Or like, I feel like I am growing beyond this person. Or you'll be completely shocked that someone that who you thought that if y'all ever had an issue that y'all would be able to work it out, or maybe you thought that y'all would never have an issue because of whatever reason, and then you guys end up having an issue, and you end up having an issue that cannot be repaired. Like it cannot, like there's just no way, it's just no way that this can happen like this, that you guys can actually make it work right now. And that's because of the awakening. There are people who are not supposed to be there with you on that journey. And these are people that sometimes will come back around. Sometimes this actually happened to me in 2012. I just had one of my friends, I've been knowing her since I was 14. And she told me the other day, she actually just did my monthly coaching with me, which I love, because normally when you have friends that you've known all your life, they, might think that, oh, okay, I don't have to, pay you your value, or you're supposed to be doing this. And she did not come with any of that. I love Naisha. That's my girl. Shout out to Naisha. But it was really funny because she was like, Dayla, she was like, I'm not gonna lie, like back in like 2013, 2014, I was one of them people that was like, what the hell is this girl talking about? Like, what is she up to? And we kind of, we never had any words exchange or anything, but we kind of just separated. Me and so many of my friends did that. And it was just what was supposed to happen. And it really started happening before I started, at least, I guess, knowing that I was going through an awakening. So that's a thing. Also, you will get a bunch of epiphanies, what some people call downloads. I call them messages, or just being really simple, epiphanies and revelations. Things about yourself. You'll start to just like, and the thing about these things too, because epiphanies happen all the time. It's really source. It's really your higher self speaking to you directly. But I want to be clear that with these signs, it is something that is very, sorry, y'all, I gotta make sure my lips are good. It's something that is very, very rapid, like very, very spontaneous. I mean, like how I mentioned to this year that I feel like right after the birth, I just started getting all of these things, and oh my God, I just came into a whole like, I'm not that girl, like I'm somebody else, like, and that's how it happens. It happens really quickly. Not that you would experience epiphanies like any other day, but it happens like realizations that you weren't even getting 48 hours ago, just hitting you. And you're like, huh, I'm going to have to make some major changes with that. I'm going to have to really set up boundaries with this, or whatever the thing is, right? That's another thing. Let me see what else I have. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Oh, okay. This is one. So random, or not so random, sadness and depression. So random or not so random, sadness and depression. The reason why I say random or not so random is because it feels random. It feels like, what the hell? I was just laughing a minute ago. I know I'm happy. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, it's taken over you. So it feels very random, but it's not random at all. It's actually it's a combination of you receiving messages from your higher self that this is the time that you're awakening, that these things need to change, things like that. And then it's also like, the best way I could explain it is it's like your old self breaking up with your new self. So it's almost like you're going in and out of a grieving process. You're going in and out of a very deep introspection process that makes you sad sometimes, that makes you feel depressed sometimes. And the thing specific with this is how you know that it's not like you're sad because your job, you're sad because you want to leave the country or something like that, which there's still that inside of there if that's the case for you. But the way that you know is like when nothing has changed, like nothing drastic has happened. There's not a breakup going on. You're not grieving because someone passed away. Nothing actually happened. Like you were good on Monday, you were good on Tuesday, and then Wednesday came and you just feel weird and depressed and sad for like 2 or 3 days. And then you might do something like work out or watch a video or just kind of shift your energy without even knowing. And then all of a sudden you're good. And you're like, like I thought I was plummeting. Like I thought I was going downhill into a spiral of depression. No, you're just awakening. And it feels really intense. Another reason why you would be feeling this random sadness and depression is because as you are awakening, there are parts of you that are opening up to the world, to this time and space. So as that's happening, it's like you're expanding and you're open. So you are also feeling things that are going on in the world. You're also feeling people. You're feeling other people's energies. So it's really not just you. This is actually a good time to do a lot of protection stuff. And when I say protection, I don't mean physical protection things. I don't mean pouring salt at the door and things like that. I mean, just with your mind, even if it's prayer the right way, not asking and begging, but you just literally what the Bible says. You pray as if it already happened. So just kind of sitting with yourself and feeling good. Thank you for protecting me. I feel safe. I'm so glad that I feel safe. I'm so glad that I feel grounded. It feels good feeling grounded. More so just bringing up the gratitude of the feeling of firmness and safeness as you go through this journey. That could feel scary for some people. Sounds like bipolar. It definitely could feel like that. It definitely could feel like that. And you can even question if you are even like real, like if it's even happening. You'll start to question, or you can start to question if you're crazy. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. And then as you're sharing things or just being yourself, people are also like, are you crazy? So it's kind of like, it's kind of validating that. But no, you're not crazy. Okay, so sleep patterns change. Another way that you know that you are going through an awakening is because your sleep patterns change, and they change again very rapidly, very spontaneous. It's like you was just good last week, and then now all of a sudden for the next 2 months, you are up at 4 a.m. What the hell? That is because you are being tapped into. You are being called on, okay? You are being opened up. And a lot of you guys may know how I think that in every corner of the world, there's a culture or a belief about the time, about late at night. Some people say the freaks come out at night. And then some people talk about how after midnight, between 2 and 4 a.m. and stuff, this is when the spirits are woke. This is when the angels are out. This is the best time to pray, things like that. And so you're going to find yourself being up at these times and having like the most energy that you have all throughout the day. Like you'll even find yourself feeling sleepy, and then and then you just get adrenaline rush like at midnight or right before midnight. And so that is a huge sign that you're awakening. And the only reason I'm laughing is because this has been my entire life. Nothing has changed. I have always got an adrenaline rush at midnight, and I am always up until 4 a.m. Now, what did change, if any of my friends, I have a lot of friends still that I grew up with. So if they're watching, they will chime in and tell you that I was the one at 2 a.m. like, let's go for a walk. Let's make up a dance. Right. I just always, I could be tired. I could be exhausted, but I just always got this energy. And I've been able to balance it throughout my life where I'm going to sleep at like 2 a.m. But after that awakening in 2012, no, not really. It was literally just all the time, 2, 3 o'clock, what has changed with this year, which is another indication of my reawakening, is I don't even know if I want to share this because y'all gonna think it's crazy, but it's not. You guys, sometimes I am up until 6 o'clock a.m. and 7. I have not slept. What? How is this possible, you ask? It has most definitely increased to an abnormal amount. And without the confirmation that I have already gotten from multiple sources, I did not need that confirmation because I already knew. Like by March, I was telling my homegirl, one of my friends, I was like, yo, there's something happening with me. I'm like, I am getting these downloads, I am getting these codes and these messages, and they are not letting me sleep because nothing is going on. I'm feeling amazing about my life. I am not stressed out. I ain't crying over nobody's son. Okay, there is nothing happening to have me up excited. I'm talking about with these rushes of like love and excitement and joy. I mean, it's I feel like in the last 2 months, since Pat became my teacher, let me say this. Since this lady became my teacher, I have actually gotten a grip on it, and it hasn't been as bad. So it's been like 3 months now. But before then, the first half of this year, I was really up at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, so excited about my life, just getting these adrenaline rushes. So if that's you, then you know what it is. Maybe you're not gonna be up at that time. I don't know, but it's real. The other thing is synchronicities and alignments. Synchronicities and alignments are going to happen very frequently when you are going through your awakening. You already, because you are a soul having a human experience, so you already know what it's like to think something up and for it to happen. You already know what it's like to create something that has to do with synchronicity. Like you dream of something and then it ends up happening and things. But when you're awakening, it's going to happen on another level. It's going to be a little freaky. You're gonna be like, okay, like is somebody here with me? Because this is unreal. How many times I have said I want this and it happens, or I've thought it and it comes up. That kind of thing is what you're going to be feeling if you are going through your awakening. Okay. We're almost finished, y'all. Losing track of time. Time goes by really fast or really slow. So that is another sign that you are awakening. If time, now, first of all, let me say that this time and space that we are in, it is going faster. It is going faster. I don't know if it's going to slow down, but I watched this Chandler Bashar say something that I already knew. I've made a few posts about this, about how it just depends, because time is also subjective. But if you are in tune, if you pay attention, if you're asking yourself what's happening right now, how do I feel? Pretty much if you're tapped into your inner dialogue, then you will probably notice when there's like glitches and time is either going retardedly fast, like this cannot be real, or super duper slow. So either of those are happening. I know a few weeks ago, with one of my clients that does the monthly thing with me, we do a Thursday session. And so we did it on Thursday. Y'all, this place is so unreal because I am not crazy. I know that only 48 hours passed and it was Thursday again. I swear to you, it said Thursday, Friday, Thursday. That lady messaged me like, hey, can we do it at 10, 11? I said, you are lying to me right now. Do you feel what I feel? Like I had to ask this client, do you understand that time just did a lapse right now? Like, do you understand that quantum jumping just took place? Because I know I'm not crazy. Like, and then I ended up watching a couple of channelers saying, like right after that, videos kept coming up of people saying like, yes, time is speeding up. This is happening. Even people like scientifically explaining about the world spinning faster and stuff. I was like, yo, I'm telling y'all, I be catching these glitches. Okay. I am too in tune to miss things like this. I just know, like, I'm not crazy. Y'all probably think I'm crazy. Time skipped. Like, we skipped a whole week, y'all. Y'all missed it. Okay, so is this the last thing? Last two things, okay? Bring your questions in and your statements if you're going to have them at all, so they can already be up. And then also, if you are enjoying this video, please hit the thumbs up button right now so YouTube can know that my video should be suggested. Okay, so what the hell did I just say? Okay, the illusion of feeling alone. So this is a big one. This is a big one because they even have sayings. What is that saying? Like, I don't even know the saying. I be bad with the sayings, y'all. But it's like it be in my head, but it just don't come out. What is the saying that goes like a journey is a waking journey is a lonely journey or something like that, right? Or as a lonely path. So there definitely is this belief and this feeling of feeling alone when you're going through your awakening. And some people is so diehard about this experience that they even anticipate it when they know that they're going through an awakening. They're like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to feel lonely, you know. And that's why I wanted to mention this, because everything is subjective here. This is a holographic world. Everybody else can be doing one thing. And I swear to you, it is your birth, your God-given right to not have to experience what everyone else is experiencing. So for me, and I have really sat back and tried to understand why I had not ever felt alone. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Hey, you guys, for that to happen at the moment I'm saying I never felt alone, shut up. What? How did I do that? What is this? I did something like this. I don't even know what I did. Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Wow, okay. So I have really sat back and tried to understand this. Like, I've watched videos of other empaths and deep spiritual people talk about their journeys of awakening and feeling alone. And I've just been like, why have I never felt like this? And the conclusion that I came up with is I believe that because when I was so young, this is why y'all hear me talk about like out of the mouths of babes and not underestimating your children that are really young, the ones who are naturally still operating from their alpha brain and their theta brain level, not to underestimate them. Because me being so young and channeling, me being 6 years old and knowing so much, and not just knowing though, it wasn't like, I don't feel like I just knew. I don't remember coming in here just knowing, but I do remember coming in here and receiving the information all the time. So I always knew that I wasn't alone. It would have been impossible. By the time I was 6 years old, it would have been impossible for me to feel alone because I was always getting messages. It was all the time. And it was very much the conversation that I have with Source today. I'm speaking, you know, they're speaking to me and I'm responding. They have insight and I have insight. I'm getting a little snappy sometimes because I'm like, well, this is how I feel, you know? So this kind of dialogue with my higher self happened so many times, hundreds of times, I would say, that I think that fast forward to me in my mid or late 20s, when I go through my awakening in 2012, I don't feel like I ever felt alone because I just always know that I am never alone. I just really have been trained and programmed with the knowing that Source is always with me. They're just always like chiming in even when I don't want them to. So so I wanted to speak on this because I really believe that it is an illusion to feel alone, because we are going off of our earthly selves, our dense, you know, earth is really deep, very dense, and we're going off of the 3D of people leaving our reality at the time. Like I said, like you're going to, you know, have to, you know, you're going to lose some friends and some people are going to call you crazy and whatever, you know, if that ends up being your journey. then the other humans in your reality might make you feel lonely if you're not careful, though, because that's not, you don't have to feel any loneliness. It's just the reality of what's happening. But I never felt alone. I actually felt like I had more company. I really felt like I had more company because I think that it's because I did not believe in the whole like feeling alone. And I really understood that source is always with me. Born this way, been called crazy early. I love it. I love meeting people. Listen, y'all, I love meeting people that were called crazy over the last however many years of their life. I love meeting people or connecting with people, I mean, that grew up being called dramatic or sensitive. If you were someone who was the sensitive one, the dramatic one, especially if you black, like if you was just too deep and always in your feelings, like I love these people because you guys are the intuitives. You guys are the ones that have been channeling, whether you realize it or not. It's just a across the board pattern for everyone with that. Those are just two very common traits. So I was called dramatic and sensitive so much that I vowed when I was like 14, I vowed to myself that if I ever had a daughter, I would never call her dramatic and sensitive. Guess what my daughter's nickname is? Like not even from me, but from everybody. And I be having to check them. Dramatic and sensitive. The two things that she embodies so much were the things that I was a child. Like, I'm never going to say this to my child because it really takes away. A lot of the work that I do with people is helping them convince themselves that they have been these really powerful, highly intuitive beings their entire life, and that no, it's not a bad thing for you to be sensitive. It's not a bad thing. You're not crazy. You really did hear that person's thoughts, or you really did get that information and have that dream and yada yada yada. But it's all about breaking free from the programming that they've had from the adults in their world that made them feel like no, there's no way you're actually saying anything worth anything. Like there's no way you're picking up on intuitive stuff. So yeah, the last thing, guys, this is the very last thing. It is the last clue that that you're going through a great awakening is when the most drastic, what feels like tragic, traumatic events take place. Now, of course, this happens without any kind of awakening. Okay. I want to be clear that with all these examples, you got to really, like, I'm being so concise with my words because you can experience epiphanies anytime. You can experience people walking out of your life or you feel like you have to detach from them anytime. But there are specific things within this that let you know that, okay, this is actually that. So that way I'm kind of like shutting down that confusion, okay, of whether you're just going through a 3D experience and that's just what you're supposed to experience, or whether you're having an awakening, right? And so with the dramatic thing, it is the same thing. I guess across the board, you know it because it's happening super spontaneous, like it's completely unexpected and it's like deep. Like it'd be like the thing that you did never ever think could ever happen. Like it's like the thing that just takes you under and and really makes you go within. That actually the traumatic experience or the dramatic shift in your life, the big change. That's what I should call this. I'm talking about a dramatic change when it comes to this particular one, a dramatic change. And that dramatic change actually often catapults you into the other signs that I talked about, the other like isolating yourself, going within, stuff like that. So yeah, you'll definitely know though. It won't be, how do I explain this? Like it won't just be that, like for me, for example, when I awakened, I also awakened to the understanding that I wanted to leave my marriage. And And it wasn't like any other time that I might have thought it. It was like, oh, like, and I'm very open and honest, you guys. I'm very honest. So it was so much in my face. I was like, hey, like, I'm thinking about leaving you. Like, what's going on? Like, so for me, it was that because I ended up leaving that relationship, and that was a big shift in my life. Yours could be the same thing or something very similar, but it's not just gonna make you feel, you know, feelings of pain and like confusion or whatever it is that you're supposed to experience like that. What some people call, what's that word? The dark night soul or something like that. The night's dark soul. There's like a term for this kind of thing. The darkest night soul, some shit like that. But it feels like that. Like it feels like you're going to experience the big shift, this shocking pain, this shocking change, but you're also going to be feeling spiritually pulled. Like your response to that is going to be like, okay, yeah, I might want to cry or I might be angry, but I want to read the Bible, or I want to, you know, I want to learn about some stuff. Oh my goodness, I cut myself. Okay. I want to learn about some stuff, or, you know, like I'm in pain, but it's making me want to really understand myself. Like that's more so what it looks like. Is there an end to the awakening process? I love this question. Somebody just asked me this earlier. And my son asked me this the other day. My son actually had a really good question, my oldest son, because he asked me, about, like, I talked to them a lot about timelines and things changing, and how there was a time when, you know, we know that we were not growing up, like parents were not raising their kids to even consider their feelings and their mental health, and to talk about them having you know, this higher power inside of them, or meditation, or any of that kind of stuff. So, you know, they are the first generation. These children today, these small children today, very small children, and the ones that might be, I guess, maybe my oldest son's age, they are the first generation to grow up with this kind of like awakening information. And so my oldest son asked me, he was like, you know, if there are these newfound children that are being raised with this level of knowledge that so many of you guys had to awaken, like in our 40s and, you know, 30s, that we had to awaken to, will there be an awakening for us? He was like, you know, will I go through an awakening, or I'm already being raised within the awakening? So how does that work? And I love a question like this, because it really just, it helps to prove it helps prove who we are, the infinite, the infinite entities that we are. The answer is yes, you're going to always go through an awakening. The awakenings never end. This thing is, as many lives as you have lived and that you are living right now simultaneously, is how many number of awakenings that you can experience, because earth is school. You came here to awaken repeatedly, and you do it every single time on so many levels. Maybe it's not always on the same level, but yes, it's always an expansion. There's never enough. The wisest shamans and sages know that you'll never learn too much. As soon as you think that you've reached a certain height, there is always more. Which is also what's amazing me about this particular awakening for me, because I never felt like, oh, I arrived. And, you know, I've always known that there's expansions of this and there's levels, but I definitely didn't feel like I could go through like a shocking, like, again, like I thought that I had already done that. Like, what else can I be shocked about? Like, you know, but there's levels to this. So it's an always thing. That's all us, latchkey youth. Yes. Yep. Exactly. You said you graduated in 2012, right? Or was that you? I'm sorry if that wasn't you. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. The wise man knows that you never will learn it all. You will always There will always be something else. It is the definition of infinite. As soon as you think you got it all, There are other layers to unfold. And one way that you know that you don't got it all is until you can, until you're ready to grasp the concept that this is not your only reality, until you're ready to, because we're not ready all the time. Like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I wasn't ready years ago. It's okay. I was seeing it. It was popping up in my 3D and I was understanding it on other levels, but it wasn't there. There's a resonance within you. And to me, that is like, it's not the highest level, but it's definitely a really high level. And I think that the reason why I'm mentioning that understanding is because that is that's the thing that we're going into. We're going more into like this great awakening that's taking place right now. It's what will probably be looked at as like years later, we'll probably call this the quantum awakening. And what I just explained about multiple realities and time and stuff, it's quantum physics. And so I think that the next awakening, which is the one that we're in now, that will last for quite some time, it's going to be about us stepping into that. You may not fully step in it, but you are going to start, if you haven't already, you're going to start seeing things that will question like how you go about stuff. Like, is there really an easier route? Is there really something different that I could do with my feelings, with my thoughts? Can I really bring things closer to me and not really wait and work really hard for them? That's the kind of awakening that we're in right now. So yeah. And I'm sure I'll explain that in a few of like the episodes. And if you are going through your awakening, or even if you're not, I think the most important message that I want to leave you guys with is to remember that you are, look at me. Like, I want to shake you, like, look at me. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Absolutely. I don't care if you are going into the church, if you just found out who Jesus is, okay? That is exactly where you're supposed to be. You are on your divine course. Congratulations. There is no such thing as you being off. So if you guys liked this live, then please hit the thumbs up button right now. Let YouTube know that your girl be going live and dropping them gems. And if you would like to support me in any way, you can hit the super thanks button. You can support me through sharing this video. The free support is the thumbs up and the share, okay? and if you would like to gift me in any way, then you can do that via Cash App. And what else, y'all? Y'all know I be so bad at these. I'm trying to remember to do this every time. Also, if you are interested in a session with me, if you are looking for coaching and intuitive coaching, and if you would like me to teach you how to change your mind and your reality with ease, then I can do that. I have a monthly program that I do. I am very much discreet about it because I don't want to like outsource myself and overextend myself. But people who come to me, it's you know, you're meant to. It's all divine. So you can email me here, and yeah, I can show you how to do a bunch of stuff. Whatever you want, from uterine to bodily health issues to just changing your way of thinking, changing the way that you approach love and self. So many different levels. Really amazing work. Thank you so much, London. Dialogue with your children. That was a good question. Thank you. Yeah, I am thinking about doing some kind, like I have to do, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, y'all. Maybe I'll just do like random episodes, but the kids and I have to get on these mics and do some videos because I have to share with you guys the way that our conversations that we have, like our circle time and things like that. I love hearing children's perspective on things, and the kids have a lot of good insight. And I don't share that enough. I know that people want to know more about that kind of stuff. So I think that it's time. We recorded a conversation we were having the other day, and I'm going to share it soon. If you don't have your notifications on, then please turn them on so that you don't miss anything. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Be back most likely tomorrow. And until next time, thank you for rolling with me. Peace out.